Hello everyone, happy Wednesday afternoon. I want to give everyone an update on the system that we're watching as we go into Thursday. We had some rain locally yesterday. Today we're kind of in between systems. And then tomorrow is when winter is back in the forecast, and that's the reason for that first alert day. For Thursday, a big wintry system. There are some changes to the forecast. Even if you were just watching Charlie this morning, things have changed since then. Just within the past couple of hours, there have been some changes. So we'll walk through all those details, the differences in snow amounts that we're now expecting. You can leave any comments down below and I'll try to answer them as we get to them. So let's go through this alert day in place for Thursday. That's tomorrow. The National Weather Service has issued a winter storm watch for all locations in blue, so mainly Dane County and south, and then farther east into Milwaukee. So this kind of gives you an idea of where we're expecting to see the impacts, mainly Dane County and south. If you live north of Dane County, especially up into the Dells and really any points northward, you're not going to see much from this system, trending farther and farther towards the south. Now we will see an update for this winter storm watch either later this afternoon, tonight, maybe early tomorrow morning at the latest. I would expect that update to come tonight. It will either be upgraded to a winter storm warning for some or downgraded to a winter weather advisory, kind of depending on which one we get. That kind of indicates how large of an impact we'll see. I do think a lot of us will probably be in that winter weather advisory, which is the lower end alert for winter systems. So let's go through kind of the basics. We're expecting moderate to some pockets of heavy snow. Not all of us that will see snow tomorrow will see heavy snow. There'll be kind of isolated bands of heavy snow that will develop. This will start in the morning and last through at least the early afternoon, tapering off pretty quickly into the late afternoon and into the evening. Evening commute should be mainly quiet, which is good news. But if you're traveling around in the morning or around that lunch hour, expect things to be pretty snowy. And I would watch for visibility to quickly drop off too. Winds will still be strong. They've been very strong the past couple of days. We've all seen it, wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour for gusts. We'll see similar conditions tomorrow. And this will be light, fluffy snow, which is great news for clearing off your driveway. Not that heavy stuff that feels like it weighs 10 tons. Like we had last Thursday. This Thursday, light and fluffy, but that's also a lot easier for it to blow around. So that's what we'll be watching as we go into tomorrow. Here's kind of the timeline of what we're expecting. I do think we'll see the highest impacts of the day for tomorrow morning, calling it a moderate impact, as only some of us will be getting in on that heavy snow. Then impacts do go down as we head through the afternoon and then into the evening as well, as that snow will quickly wrap up. So for that evening commute, it's looking okay, especially if you're traveling in more rural locations. Watch for that blowing snow, but at least in the city limits, I think things should be all right for that evening commute tomorrow. Let's see, we can have a couple questions coming in about schools. Will schools be closed? Asking about Janesville as well. It's hard to say. I wouldn't be shocked if Janesville is closed. I doubt that the Madison schools will be closed tomorrow, but we'll have to see what they decide. I think they usually try to decide that by either 10 p.m. the night before or 5 a.m. that morning. So we'll have to see. You'll see with the updates to the forecast kind of what we're thinking here. But here are those wind gusts that we're expecting. 20, 25, close to 30 miles per hour. So especially during the afternoon, those winds will be strong. So even if it's done snowing, you'll still see that snow blowing around and could still see some limited visibility. Let's get into future radar here. Quiet the rest of the day today, just cloudy, just windy, with temperatures getting cooler, and that's key, that cooler air coming in. That's why we're seeing snow tomorrow instead of rain, of course. This is 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. You see that snow starting to move in, and really pay attention to where the general band of snow sets up, but also those brighter blues and whites. Those are the pockets of heavy snowfall. Those are mainly Dane County and points southward. To the north of Dane County, again, the Dells, Richland Center, Montello, even up into Partyville, Prairie du Chien, you're right on the edge there. You'll really see the lower end of impacts, if anything, from this system. So really clipping the central part of our area and then farther south towards the state line. Moving into the afternoon, 1 p.m., those heavier bands of snow falling right in between Janesville and Milwaukee, and then down south into Rockford, Dane County. We're even starting to see that snow wrapping up a little bit. Into the evening then, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., that snow's pushing out, and we're quiet through the rest of the night. So here's where you'll see those changes in the snow forecast. That purple band, that heaviest band of snow, has been shifting farther and farther towards the south. Just the upper level dynamics in the atmosphere kind of supporting that heavier snow towards the south and not really supporting it quite as much farther north. So Madison, we're still in that 2 to 5 range. Notice though, we are right on the edge, 2 to 5 or 1 to 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're on the lower end in Madison of that 2 to 5 range. I could see us getting 2 to 3, maybe close to 4 inches. The farther south you go, that's where we're seeing those higher impacts. So Janesville, someone was asking about schools. Possible that you could have a snow day tomorrow in Janesville. Really have to see. I know they haven't had a snow day yet this year, I believe, so we'll have to see how that pans out. Then the farther north you go, a quick cutoff in those totals, just a couple mile difference is the difference between maybe 5 inches of snow and maybe 1 or no inches of snow. So really depends on where you are. Again, Dells, Prairie du Chien, Richland Center, Montello, Partyville, don't expect much from this. We'll see most of those impacts to the south, really south and east, even Milwaukee. This could be Milwaukee's biggest snow system of the year so far, of the entire winter season. They've really missed out on the snow. So finally, a snow chance for Milwaukee. All right, let's get into some of the questions here. See what people are saying. Trenton asking about how much snow Janesville will get. Hopefully I just answered that for you. Tanya, yes, I do know they build in those snow days to the schedule, so maybe they would use one for tomorrow just to get it used up, especially as we're in kind of the later half of the winter season. So I could see Janesville maybe postponing or having a snow day tomorrow. Lindsay asking about Stoughton. I do think southern Dane County, including Stoughton, far southeastern Dane County, could get in on that 4 to 5 range, the higher end of our forecast for Dane County, whereas Madison and the farther north you go, kind of the lower end of that forecast. So Stoughton, I could see you getting about 4 to 5 inches there, Lindsay. Beth asking about Monroe. Monroe is right on the edge of that 5 to 7 range. I could see Monroe still getting in on a couple rounds of that heavier snow moving through, especially during the morning hours. Someone asking about Monona. Monona pretty much similar to Madison. I would suspect that lower end of the 2 to 5 range, closer to 2 to 3, maybe 4 for Monona, and Janesville, similar in Middleton. Also Sun Prairie, seeing similar things kind of closer to the Madison area. So let's pull up the basics once again just to rehash what we've gone through. First alert day tomorrow, highest impacts to the south and east, much lower impacts, if maybe no impacts, farther towards the north. Moderate to heavy snow at times, some pockets of heavier snow. Don't expect everyone to see that heavy snow tomorrow. Starting in the morning through the afternoon, some messy travel, especially during the morning hours, late morning, early afternoon. Then that will wrap up through the afternoon. And then those wind gusts will still be strong. So expect to see some blowing snow if you're traveling on rural or open roadways, especially that section of I-90 from Madison to Janesville. I know that's been a huge issue, really with the past couple of systems that we've seen. It's been closed for periods of time, so especially that section of I-90 just south of Madison to Janesville. Be careful on that one. We could really see some issues with blowing snow there. All right, more people asking about that snow forecast. We'll pull it up again. Let's see. Veronica saying that Beloit hasn't seen a ton of snow this season. You're happy about that, Veronica. I'm kind of over the snow at this point too. I know we still have a decent amount of winter to go, probably. April asking about Jefferson County. Jefferson's probably in that 2 to 5. Do note that far southern Jefferson County, closer towards Whitewater, kind of right on the edge of Jefferson County, could get in on that 5-6 range, but generally I think Jefferson County is in that 2 to 5, probably solidly right in the middle, 3 to 4, 3 to 5 range with those sharper cutoffs the farther north you are in Jefferson County. Mineral Point is also kind of in the same boat as Madison. You're right on that line, that dark blue line and that kind of medium toned line. You're still in that 2 to 5 range. I could see you getting on the lower end of that 2 to 3 for Mineral Point. And Richland Center, not much, Heidi. Maybe a little bit of snow tomorrow, probably not that much. If you see anything, you might not see anything tomorrow. So really an interesting system. There's a lot of dry air farther up towards the north, and that kind of chips away at that system and pushes it farther south and really inhibits much of that snow falling to the north of Madison. Joni asking about the time that it will start. We'll kind of go through future radar again. Of course, it does depend on where you're at. Right now, this is showing 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, so I do think we could see some snows getting into Madison for 7 a.m. If we go back a little bit, let's go to 5, 6 a.m., just starting to see a little bit of snow making its way through. So if you're an early commuter tomorrow, kind of before 7 a.m., the roads probably won't be too bad. It's once we get 7 a.m. to about 9 a.m. That's when a lot of that snow starts to move through. Let's go forward to about 9 here. See that quickly escalate. You see those brighter blues starting to move in, the heavier bands of snow. So around 7 to 9 is kind of that time when things will quickly get worse and those roads will become pretty snow covered. And then into the afternoon, things do continue to push farther south and east. As we go towards the evening commute, 4, 5 o'clock, a lot of that's farther east, and we'll start to say a little bit quieter. Vincent saying to get the snowmobiles out. This will also be good skiing snow too, for those that do get snow, nice fluffy powdery stuff, not the heavy icy stuff that we saw last time. Cindy asking about Oregon. We'll pull up the snow map once again, because of course that's what everyone wants to know about. Oregon, southern Dane County, probably on the higher end of that 2 to 5. I could see you getting 3 to 5 inches, maybe 4 to 5 farther south in Oregon, kind of similar to Stoughton. Farther south you are in Dane County, the more likely it'll be you'll be on the higher end of that snow forecast for Dane County. Madison points northward in Dane, up into DeForest, Belleville, kind of in that sharp cutoff range. So really tricky forecast there. Veronica asking, should it be good around 9 p.m. on Thursday in Beloit? Yes, by then things should be wrapped up, Veronica. We should be all right by then as we get into Thursday evening and then into Thursday night. Most of that will be done. Maybe in some rural areas, especially, Beloit, kind of more rural. You might see some blowing snow here and there, but generally that snow is done, so roads shouldn't be getting worse. They should be getting better as we go through the rest of Thursday evening and into Thursday night. Brian, yes, we've been talking about how the snow is continuing to shift farther south, just kind of the upper level dynamics at play, kind of shifting that farther and farther south, and that drier air working in from the north, also kind of team working against those who want snow in Madison, continuing to push the heaviest snow, really Janesville and points south into northern Illinois. So I'll continue to go through these questions through the rest of the day today and continue to answer things if I have the time, but Brian will be in tonight, also Kevin will be in, and then we'll be in early tomorrow morning as well with any school closures, delays, anything like that, and also looking at road conditions tomorrow morning. I believe Mackenzie Davis will be out in Janesville, giving you a closer look at what's going on in Janesville. So we'll try to keep you as covered as possible as we go through the rest of today. Brian will have any forecast changes, and then as we get into the thick of it tomorrow. So don't go buying all that bread and milk. Everyone just stay calm. We'll be all right. We'll continue to see if that forecast changes. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you have a good rest of your Wednesday.